Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call to order the November 6th meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee. I assume all the members have had a chance to read the minutes of the previous meeting. If there are no additions or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So move. Support.
It's moved and supported. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Finance reports.
You will find your finance reports in your packets. You will see that you have various expenses and revenues to your project subtypes with a cash balance of $96,832. If there's any questions, I will attempt to answer them.
Questions of the finance report? Very good. Hearing none, we will move to the sheriff's report. Under Sheriff speaking, okay.
Yeah, obviously it's not really a long report. We do have, serious issue with fatal and serious accidents going on that we're trying to get a handle on. So we're continuing to work on that. And of course, we're getting into that season where the deer are running and everything else going on. We do have a couple of requests on the table. I brought my experts in case anybody, has any questions regarding those. Other than that, so anybody has any questions for the report in general?
Need a Mustang.
I'm sorry, what?
You need a Mustang.
Oh, I don't know if we need that.
Questions of the sheriff's report? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the action item. We have a request to recommend accepting the burn justice assistance grant through State of Michigan and authorize Captain Randy Casey to execute the grant, which runs.
There's one before that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got them turned around. I have them out of order. Apologies. Now we have a grant request. It's lengthy. It's the Axon request. Captain, I'll let you make the presentation.
All right, thank you for having that up there so I can read that. Axon's our current vendor for body cams, tasers, car cameras, and our interview room camera. We also put all of our digital evidence in there, all of our documents that we send to the prosecutor, all of our videos from other agencies or other entities. If we have a Ring camera that somebody has captured some incident on, then we can download that into Axon. It's a way for us to share information. Become basically a digital evidence platform that we can put everything in, so we don't have to put it on external hard drives and take room in our property room. Our current Axon contracts are all up for renewal over the next 5 years. We just did a taser renewal this last year, if everybody remembers. With this next contract, it would actually take that, we would get credit off of that and would roll it into one contract. Over the course of the next 5 years, we have our interview room, which is coming up for a new contract, our body worn cameras in 2027, our in-car cameras in 2028, and then our tasers in 2029. With our current system, we have a limited amount of storage that we can use. State of Michigan laws require us to retain evidence for so long. The undersheriff just spoke, we've got a lot of serious crashes. We have to keep those videos, those pictures for up to 7 years. Plus on top of any photos or videos we have of crimes have to be kept for a longer time. I just checked our plan. We're actually about we have 8 terabytes. I had it on my phone. We are about 30% over our a la carte storage right now. With the new contract, that would get us unlimited storage. One of the things that we can put on there is some of our cell phone download data can now be stored there rather than buying 30, 40 external hard drives, downloading it and putting that in our storage room. With this contract, it wraps everything all into one. So all 5 entities go into one. It gives us some other software and other hardware items as well. It's called the officer safety plan is ultimately what we're going with. We get the Taser 10, which is the tasers that we went to. It renews that contract. This is a 10-year contract rather than a 5. We would come up with the Taser 10. We would get brand new body cams, which the new body cams that are coming out with actually have the ability to communicate with other languages. They have a feature where you talk to the person and the body cam will actually translate it for you. And then when they talk back, it'll translate and tell you what they're saying so you can communicate through the body cams. We have Axon Signal Sidearm, which puts a device on the firearm that anytime it comes out of the holster to challenge a threat, if your body cam has not been turned on yet, say you're just walking, you're pumping gas and you're walking into the store and something happens, your body cam normally wouldn't be on. The second the firearm comes out and levels, then that would activate any body cams around it. So it would take that moment away where they don't have to start tapping their body cam to make sure they capture what's going on. We get our in-car cameras, all of our fleet cameras. We have a front-facing camera as well as a rear-facing camera that sees the back seat. For any people that we arrest, we can see what's going on in the back seat, make sure we can monitor them if they try and hide evidence or if they have a medical episode that is captured on camera with that. There is a state regulation for anybody we interview for major crimes that we have to record them. Our interview room has 3 recording cameras at the sheriff's office, 2 angles, and then we also have one that can cover a lineup if we have to do a lineup for anybody. With this program, we would get what's called Axon standards. It's a formalized use of force, internal investigations, pursuit forms, and any other forms that we might want to use internally. It could be uniform requests or vehicle damage or property damage of our own equipment. Right now, we are using pen and paper, and then you scan it in as a PDF and it gets put in a file on our servers for the county. And it's very difficult to search through. We can't really run reports on how much use of force we've had, pursuits, without actually getting it out in old school pen and paper to it. Evidence.com goes to unlimited storage. It also gives all of our personnel the ability to review their stuff and make sure that they can pull out certain clips on it. Right now, they're considered basic users. So they can go and they can watch it, but they can't do timelines with it. There's certain restrictions on that. I can't tell you what all those are. I'd have to actually get down to the nitty gritty of the back end admin side of it, but with the Axon to get pro licenses, which means we can give them access to certain things, or we can combine all of their items into one. Now with a pro license, they can also create their own standards forms. So they can create a form, they can start the form for the use of force, they can start the forms for all that. With basics, it would just have to be the supervisors that would fill all that out. We get Axon community requests. So back in COVID, the Axon gave it to us for free, where we could send a link or a text message to a community member that had a case with us. If they had text messages they wanted to download, emails or video, we can send them a text or a link. They click on the link, they upload their own evidence, and it's true evidence at that point. It's right from them. The other option is we take our cameras or our phones and we record their stuff, and that gets digitized. It's not good evidence. I know the prosecutor's office doesn't like it when we do that. So it gets distorted, so you really can't see the true evidence with that. They started with COVID. They gave it to us for free because of trying to distance everybody. Now it's actually an upgrade, so they're going to start charging us. They were supposed to start charging us back in February, but as we went through discussions on trying to upgrade to this plan, they gave it to us on a free trial basis until approval of the contract. So we can still send that out. If somebody has something going on, we can send them an email, a text, or an email or a text, and they can upload their own evidence. They're upgrading their redaction assistant. So when we have FOIA requests, we have a lot of FOIA requests for body cams, car cams, all of that stuff. That is usually about a 2-minute to 1-minute ratio. So for every 1 minute of body cam or video footage, it takes 2 minutes to redact it, because you have to watch almost frame by frame and make sure you get all the information out of it. The redaction assistant will actually recognize faces. So if you have to blur out a face, it will recognize a face. And once you click that face once, it will now recognize that face throughout the entire video and speed up redaction for that. Same with any type of radio traffic. If it's digitized radio traffic, it will pick up that radio traffic and take that out as it moves forward. You still have to make sure that it's accurate, but it speeds up that process. So we're trying to get that more to a 1 minute to 1 minute ratio. Auto tagging is another one. So when you have a incident with your body cams or your vehicle camera, At the end of it, you have to put the complaint number that's associated with it, as well as what type of incident it was. So that's, right now, our deputies, once they handle a complaint, they have to go and they have to do their activity log, they have to write the report, they have to go into Axon, put the complaint number and tag the video, and we have to make sure, on the back end, a supervisor has to go in and make sure they tagged it appropriately. If they tagged it in one level, like just a random incident that doesn't need to be saved, it disappears within 90 days. But sometimes those cases turn into a crime or more of an incident, and after 90 days, it's gone. So with auto tagging, whatever dispatch puts the call in, that's what the camera will be tagged with, and the deputies can go in and add other categories to it to make it saved longer for evidentiary purposes and stuff like that. So if they get dispatched to a domestic violence incident, that's going to be saved for a lot longer than a traffic stop would. We will have also, if approved, gives us unlimited third-party storage. So the unlimited storage is just for our evidence, or if we upload documents to it. Unlimited third-party storage would be, we don't do this as much anymore with our financial crimes unit, but if Walmart had a video of a retail fraud or an incident in their parking lot, when they send it to us, that's considered third-party digital evidence. So we can now save unlimited amounts of video from other partners, from other entities. There's it's called a My90 by Axon. It's another software platform. It brings the agency and the community together where we can actually send, so we have the community request where we can get their evidence. We can also get their information and send them a survey or a checklist to say, did we provide the service that you expected from us? We know those numbers can be skewed, but we want to also get feedback from our community. We know that the community supports us. We know we do, our people really care about the community and do a great job out there, but it also gives the community the ability to give us feedback on what we can do better. What we can do better, what we did well, what we can celebrate, and that's another part of that platform. It also, right now, our cameras in our car are attached to what's called Axon Respond. It shows where our cars are in the county, but it also allows us to, if something's going on with that deputy, we can actually activate the camera in that car and see what's going on in front of the police car. So if we're trying to get a hold of a deputy and we can't raise them on the radio for several minutes, several times, we can activate their camera to see, are they in the middle of something? Did they get in a crash we don't know about? So on and so forth with that. It can also, the Fusus is kind of a real-time crime center, if you will. It can tell us if there are cameras in the area, if people allow it. It doesn't give us access to any cameras. It doesn't tell us what is on the camera, what it is. But if the community wants to say, hey, I might want to keep my neighborhood safe, I'm just gonna let you know I have a camera. When we have a crime in that area, it will tell us, you might want to check in this area for Ring cameras. It's a normal investigative tool. We go and knock on doors, but this could, if people participate, could automatically tell us. It also brings some of the cameras into one system. We can watch our body cams and our car cameras all on one system rather than 2 or 3 different platforms. Brings in, it's the start of, I'm sure we've all talked about it, the AI is a big proponent that's coming for pretty much anything, law enforcement, government. And the more and more it comes out, the more and more expensive it gets. And they're coming out with lots of platforms for it. This, while very expensive to start, gives us any and all AI platforms that we want to participate in the future, gives it to us ahead of time. They have 3 of them right now, 3 or 4 of them right now. The main one is, it's called Draft 1, which can cut report writing time by 50%, they claim. They gave us a demonstration, actually wrote a better report than most police officers I've seen. We want to be careful with that. We would start that out with very low level civil complaints, very minor incidents. You still want your officers writing good reports, especially when they have crimes, but we would work with the prosecutor's office on the parameters surrounding that. But it gives us it's called Draft 1, the report writing. It gives us auto translate, or if they're speaking on the body cam, it'll auto translate it in the transcription side of Axon. It gives us unlimited transcription minutes. So We don't have to hire an outside agency for transcription services. And, says unlimited smart detection. It speeds up some of our investigations of digital evidence by detecting when human forms appear in footage. So while there's only 4 of them right now, signing out of this contract gives us access to any and all AI plans that they may come out with over the course of 10 years. Whether we choose to use those or not, we'll have to evaluate those as they come up, but it does give us access to those. Also gives us a training platform. One of the big topics surrounding law enforcement is training. We have to train our people appropriately. We're getting better at that. There's lots of other platforms for training, but Axon's developed a virtual reality training where you put a virtual reality headset on and it gives you scenario-based trainings and decision-making with this virtual reality headset. It's not a very expensive tool, but it does add it to it, and we get access to all of their training platforms. And it talks about the legal side of what you're about to do. It talks about policy side of what you're about to do and decision-making on which use of force option you may encounter. It relies heavily on de-escalation and use of less lethal tools rather than lethal tools, but it has a lot of scenarios for de-escalation and for live scenarios. The reason we wanted to go with a 10-year plan is it locks us in for one consistent price over 10 years. And when we brought this to the administrator, deputy administrator, we wanted to do it as either capital improvement or add it to our budget. The administrator's office graciously added it to the budget. It is in our service contract budget for next year. And with Axon, if we were to sign up this year, wrapping everything together, they were giving us approximately $466,000 in savings over the course of the contract. So almost $500,000 in savings over the 10-year period to execute that now. That solidifies us for 10 years into the future. We don't know what that future may bring. They did break it down for me at one point and said what the cost of waiting if we were to do 2 5-year contracts, and in 5 years they anticipate the cost of this program to go up anywhere in between 10 and 20%. So if we were to do a 5-year contract with them now, and then another 5-year contract, it would be close to the same amount now, and then in 5 years it'd be another 10 to 20% more. If we were to piecemeal everything, in our current contract, if we were to go yearly contracts with everything else, again, eventually the community, the standards are moving more towards this unlimited storage. They're moving more towards, there's a lot going on out there, and people are expecting, the community, the legislature, everybody's expecting more. The courts, if we don't go in with a video, a body cam, they pretty much throw it out. So they're expecting more. That's the expectation of everybody at this point. So we're asking for the contract to be approved now. It would not be in effect and executable until January, until the new budget year. But signing the contract now allows us to start this, to get the start of work agreements around so we can get rolling with it as soon as we can in 2026, rather than waiting through half the year when we start getting busy with our events.
Okay, gentlemen, before we have discussion, we need to have a motion on the floor that we can enter discussion.
Can we ask some questions first, or you want the motion?
Well, you can have discussion after the motion's on the floor. I mean, you could make a motion for the purpose of discussion.
I'll go ahead and make that motion for the purpose of.
Do I have support? Is there no support? I will support it for the purpose of discussion. All right, it's moved and supported. Now we're open for discussion. Questions? Mr. Rugst?
Captain, Axon, you're currently using Axon. Am I understanding it correct that everything's going to be replaced? Your current equipment's going to be replaced with this contract?
Yes, all of our current equipment will be brand new equipment.
Okay, all right. So with that being said, what other companies offer this service?
No, none. Nobody offers the robust system of this nature. There are a couple of other companies that have body cams and some in-car cameras. Other police agencies that have used them, they can't get their own data off of there. They can't, use it. There's Tecumseh Police Department. I don't want to speak for them entirely. This is conversations we've had on the side, but they're actually trying to go to Axon because they do not like their body cam system. It's not user friendly and it's not working well for them. So the people in Adrian PD did have a different system for body cams, and they went with an officer safety plan as well.
Do you know what APDs cost?
I do not.
Yeah, with this amount of money, it would just be good to see a competitive bid, and that's why I was asking what other companies do it. But, how many officers are we supplying cameras?
We will get 50 body cams out of this. That also, we have a couple of people who have 2 body cams, because they, respond from home, our traffic unit and our K-9 unit. And then we also have 6 assigned to the jail for supervisors and transport officers. So there'll be approximately 50 in use.
Okay, so you feel we'd be using all 50?
We might have about 2 extra.
Okay. I'm just looking for ways that maybe this could be brought down in price. How much are we spending now for the services that you have with Axon?
We were, I want to say it was $160,000 for a year, and that's about to go up because we're still under the interview room contract, and with the other ones coming up for renewal, they're going to go up as well.
Can I add to that question? But that, my concern is, Captain, pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. He had the floor, so I was getting it from him, so, wow. But if you took all of these programs that you're talking about, that are being bundled in there, currently we have all those programs separately in different groups, right?
Just the hardware and the storage. We don't have any of the documentation or redaction or any of that stuff. Right?
So you can't really compare apples to apples of what we're currently paying versus what we're going to be paying because of new services that we're getting.
Not, I can't do the current, but I did reach out to them for the auto tagging and standards standalone, and those were about 70 grand a piece, 70 grand a year a piece on their own.
I guess it doesn't answer. I'm just trying to get a comparative to currently if we had the programs, what 10 years would cost us versus this program, but I guess we can.
I have,
This program's got more to it than what they're.
so if I don't know if I submitted this as a document in there. 10-year cost analysis.
Yep. It's it.
So they say 106, and that's not accurate. It's about 160 they're leaving out, I believe, our tasers. That's just our fleet and our body cams. So just in 2027, we'd be rising to 445,000 with the current. Keep current, renew 5 years in 27 and 32. They're assuming a 5% increase, but that's the cost analysis. It would cost us over the course of 10 years if we stayed current and renewing contracts.
Okay, so I totally understand the importance of what you're doing there, and I fully support what the department's looking to do. It's the cost that's just killing us. Is there other plans that we could look at with Axon besides the one that you're looking at?
We could, but every one of them eliminates a portion of it. So one step down, we lose probably 40% of what I've talked about on the extras, the standards, forms and everything. So that's just one step down, and I don't realize if I brought that one or not, but that was going to be.
I know one thing you're doing, going for the unlimited storage, and I do realize the importance of that. We certainly want to have that available, but
So, yeah, for one step down, we're looking at savings of $30 a month. So over the course of the year per officer, and that's per officer. I do my math in my head real quick, $3,600 a year or I'm sorry, $360 a year per officer,
3,600 for the length of the contract.
per officer. So for 50 of that, that's what you're looking at if we went one step down. But that's $360 a year per officer.
Cause I look at this as $400,000 a year. That's really $33,000 a month. That.
And that's why we spoke with the administrator's office about the budgeting process for it. We didn't want to bring it up, and obviously it's a very high cost. It was added to our budget for next year, which was approved, and it is in our service contract to be able to cover.
Do we have to cut something else to get there?
Commissioner Van Dorn?
Couple of questions, one for you, Captain, one for the administrator. So my concern is that these long-term contracts, I understand, we save money by doing that, but as the equipment and the programs are advancing, I understand that, the new AI programs, what the software is advancing, you're going to get advantage of that, but you're going to have the equipment, that's going to be issued to you. It's going to be 10 years old. I mean, after 5 years, I can't imagine how much a lot of this equipment's going to change.
It's written into the contract where we actually get all the equipment replaced every either 3 or 5 years. I got to look at that, but it's called a TAP program. So we get a refresh of equipment every couple of years.
Okay, so any of the advances would be.
Yep.
Okay, taken care of. So that takes care of that end. It makes me feel a little better. For the administrator, we put this in the 2026 budget? Or deputy administrator, whoever wants to answer.
That's correct. It was added to the 2026 budget. If you recall some of those budget meetings we had early on, and those were a very long time ago, I understand. But we talked about the Axon contract and how it originally came in as a capital request. And it actually was added to the capital plan because currently in 2025, there is 200,000 already budgeted for Axon within the sheriff's office. It didn't make sense accounting wise to put the additional 200,000 in the capital plan and then keep the $200 in the sheriff's budget. So if you recall, the capital plan was actually reduced by the 200,000 and is now at 3.3 million. And that 200,000 was moved to the sheriff's division.
So if you look,
budget.
I'm sorry. So if you look at the overall budget for the sheriff's department, okay, taking them what we had before, moving to 2026, how much does this increase the sheriff's department budget annually?
You want me to take that? So this alone, it's an extra $200,000 because that's that difference between what was previously budgeted for Axon and this additional program. The budget overall, there's a number of variables that impact the bottom line, not just this. You can go anywhere from personnel, fringe benefits, other line item adjustments, just like in every other budget that have gone up, for 2026. So I don't have the total of what their budget was in 2025 comparative to 2026. But it went up by a number of different factors. The largest chunk being the Axon contract that we did include. I understand that, the concerns with the cost. I will tell you that when this came to the administrator's office during the budget discussions, that's what we called them in. And we said, we want to know more about this because during the budget process, we get a lot of requests from a lot of different departments for things that they want or they need, et cetera. And we have them come in and we vet it out and we push back a lot because we understand what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with the taxpayer money and we want to make sure we're doing it appropriately and efficiently. A 10-year contract is not something that as a county government, we are accustomed to getting into. So it feels uncomfortable. And we had those same concerns. But when we went through it, and we did the same thing. I appreciated some of the questions earlier about how can we compare this apples to apples? And it's very difficult to do because some of the services that are coming up through this new contract are new and different than what we currently have. But we also have to look at what is going on out there in the world, and technology is causing law enforcement and investigations and everything else to look new and different. I really appreciate the artificial intelligence, the AI component to this also, because we're not only seeing that in law enforcement for training, but we are seeing in other areas. We have another department that next year we are going to be able to bring in virtual reality headsets where individuals will be able to look through those and learn how to do a skill set that they do not have, or look at something in the future or what they might want to do going down the road. And we're seeing more, the trend to go more and more in that direction. Just ask our IT department on what that looks like. So I understand there's some concern here. We want to look at competitive bidding. Unfortunately, Axon has kind of cornered that market. And when we start separating it out into different vendors for different things, maybe we can find a lower price on this area. Now you have competing vendors trying to provide the same service, and sometimes that's beneficial, sometimes it's not. And in this case, the reason that we did move this request forward and include it in the budget for 2026 is because we asked a lot of the same questions that you guys are asking here today, and I appreciate that because those need to be public questions and answered questions. But we felt comfortable with the long-term keeping equipment current, keeping the software current, keeping the all of the different training modules that we'll be able to use current. And it's a lot. It's double the price that what we're paying right now, but it also locks us in for a long term going into the future, where you can budget that, you can depend upon it, you know what you're getting. If you wait and you stay with the current program, which does not offer a number of these other things that I think we'll be able to take advantage of and will make the department run more effectively. I think it'll also help the prosecutor's office, in what they're doing, and probably the public defender's office. And I haven't asked our public defender, but I'm assuming that these will also be key factors that they need. As we look at these, if there are crash investigations that are being done, I think you're also going to see a benefit probably within our medical examiner's office and the investigations that they're doing. There's a lot of different ways that this software isn't just impacting the sheriff's office, but it is impacting other departments also. And then you can look at the part where the clarity in some of the recordings, I know that we have all seen where there are lawsuits that we have been involved in where a body camera was not activated when it probably could have been or should have been, and it wasn't activated due to the circumstance and the heightened activity that was going on at the time. Having the body cam automatically activate also helps us when we are potentially being sued for something and defending ourselves in the long run. So although this individual request is a lot, it's double what we're paying. If we look at all of the departments that will actually benefit from this and the risk mitigation that is actually happening on behalf of the county, I am in support of having this this Axon contract move forward.
So, and I really appreciate that, and I'm glad to hear that portion of it, because as we all know, as we move ahead here in the next 5 to 10 years, I mean, holding down cost and the overall cost of running a sheriff's department at the current level that we run it at, some of it is non-mandated services, and it could get to the point in the future, if we don't watch our cost, where we're going to have to reduce the amount of deputies and road patrol we have and take care of the mandated services that come from the state. So I very much appreciate, and I feel more comfortable with this, and the fact that moving forward, the overall county budget, we have to try to keep it as reasonable as possible. Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Commissioner Ungst?
So for Kim, so adding this to the budget, you're reasonably sure this is not going to affect any of the personnel?
For 2026, it did not affect the personnel. Now, I want to go on that. We just went through a situation where when we were preparing our budget, we had a lot of concerns about what does it look like if the state government shuts down and stays shut down? And what if the federal government shuts down and stays shut down? Well, we're experiencing part of that. One of the things that we did is we did reach out to every single department and they provided us with here's what would happen if our state funding goes away. What does that look like? What kind of grants are you receiving? What personnel are attached to those grants? And quite frankly, as we go forward, we do have to look at that. We look at that every year. Do we have proper staffing? Do we have too much staffing? Do we not have enough staffing? What does that look like? But in a case where, let's say, the government shutdowns begin to impact us and as an economy, and maybe it throws us into some sort of recession, which is then going to impact revenues that are coming into the county. We've been through those. Those have not been fun. And what we've done is we have gone through and said, where can we eliminate? And we do that. And a lot of times we will, if the department heads cannot come up with a way to tighten up the belts, if you will, based on the revenue that we're getting, we assist them in figuring out what that looks like. And a lot of times, because quite frankly, in any county, not just our county, personnel is your largest expenditure and all the things associated with it. That is the largest asset and expense that we have. And so that is oftentimes where we end up having to go to look at that. So that would be something that we'd have to do in the future. But right now, based on what I know and what we know in the budget for 2026, this add-on did not impact the budget negatively in this department or any other department. We did not have to say no to anything else that was needed in order to make this happen.
That's just one of my concerns.
And I appreciate that. And I appreciate your concern that way because I think we are all sharing that concern in our budget. This last year, just a few months ago, with what we have going on at the state level, and not knowing how the federal shutdown is truly going to impact us long-term, really has, I think, all of us looking at budgeting a little bit different than we did a year ago. And we're realizing how impactful some of the indecision it could have on local county government as well as our individual municipalities. So I appreciate thinking about that.
And I do realize the importance of this program and what it will do for the future. And if I can ask one more question,
Certainly.
Captain. What, is there any room left for negotiations with Axon? I mean, and again, just to try to bring the cost down for the same product.
For next year, no, but I was just about to say that as we get into this, if there's programs that go, yeah, this isn't what we thought, this isn't what we wanted. My plan was to reach out to them and go, we're not utilizing this. This isn't a benefit to us. Let's look and see how we can cut some of these costs and cut some of these programs and bring that down. So to start.
That's your plan, not
That's my plan. That's not Axon, of course. Axon's always good about raising the cost and adding stuff to you. I don't know about taking money away, but as we look at that, that would be something that we would look into and see if there's ways that, okay, there's programs we are not using. What can we do about that?
I just like to know that there's some negotiation that could happen.
And the problem is with their bundling package, that's with that step up, you get all of this. And then if you go one step down, they eliminate a lot of programs. And then you have to, if you want one out of the premium package, one of them costs $70,000 a year. So that's how they make the bundle worthwhile, is they charge such an exorbitant amount for each little piece that you almost have to bundle it.
For the questions? Well, I have a few I'd like to ask. I think we need to keep in mind here, we keep talking about how this is impacting the budget for next year, how we're able to budget because of certain things we've done, how we're able to budget because everybody else stepped forward. But we have to understand, we're committing to this for 10 years, not just for next year. This is $400,000 every year for the next 10 years. That has to be borne in mind in making a decision. You have on this committee 2 prior law enforcement people to understand the value of premier equipment, which translates to premier law enforcement. But that has to be kept in mind. So let me ask you a couple of questions if I could. 10 years is a long time. 10 years ago, if you took my cell phone today it does what a computer did 10 years ago. Technology is exponentially increasing daily, not let alone yearly. Are we assured, that's not the correct, because we can't be. Are we comfortable with the fact that within a 5-year period, that company A will develop a body camera that's the size of a Titec? Are we assured that technology won't pass by what Axon will supply? And I understand that Axon is saying, we'll give you everything that we create from this point forward. And Axon has done a great job, not only of cornering the market for this product, but for tasers also. They own the market. So their cost it's difficult to find anything that's of a competitive nature. So are we comfortable that that technology will stay with us for a 10-year period?
And I can't answer that. The only thing I can look at is, so taking the tasers, for example, they've come up with different options for those.
Right.
You've had what's called a BOLA wrap, where they send a device that wraps around legs. There was a agency up in Genesee County that purchased a bunch of those, found that they were highly ineffective, and went back to tasers. The body cam market, every time someone comes up with a new body cam, they put it out there, but because Axon is so advanced and they have a lot of people working for them, that company doesn't gain any traction. Motorola is one that has tried to get into the body cam market, and they have some of them. Everybody who goes to them then transitions back to Axon because of the system. So I don't have an answer. Somebody probably will come up with something like that. But we don't know what that looks like.
Right. I've read through this a couple of times. There is no opt-out clause in here in this contract, as I understand it.
I didn't read one, so.
You know, I went through it a few times, and there is no opt-out. So as you were saying, if in the future, some of the programs purchased of this aren't satisfactory or aren't up to the level you're asking, we're still committed to $400,000 for 10 years. Because I don't find an opt-out available to the county, to whomever. Having said what I've been saying up here, again, to previous law enforcement people, we do understand the value of premier equipment as it relates to premier law enforcement. It's a difficult pill to swallow. $400,000 a year for 10 years, that's $4 million. It's a difficult pill to swallow. We are committed to have been committed to half of that anyways. Going forward, even if this other company ABC does create this product that exceeds what Axon has, they will ask for a premier price because they know the value of what it is and they know how law enforcement thinks. Still a difficult pill to swallow, but I too think that it's probably a program that we can't. It's difficult to say we can't do without. We can do without it. We could do without it. Should we do without it is the bigger question. And as I hear the opportunities available and the programs available within it, they bring law enforcement to a much higher level. I can remember a police report saying, guy crossed the line, they arrested him, took him to jail, he was drunk. End of report. Obviously, that would get you about 10 minutes at the prosecutor's office today, long enough for them to throw you out the door. So this enhances all of the things that heretofore have been a problem. Not a problem. Heretofore have been lacking in needing in law enforcement. So I think it's a good program. Just still a bitter pill to swallow.
Absolutely, and we understand the cost of it. We had quite the sticker shock when they sent it to us as well, but.
Which I'm sure.
I'm
sure.
And quite honestly, the 10-year contract, something could come up in 5 years. 5 years, we've noticed this in the last couple of years, it's gonna be here tomorrow. And so if we did a 5-year contract, we'd be bringing a new contract to you and everybody be,
Certainly.
didn't we just talk about this?
Certainly.
With the 10-year, hopefully we have other options by that point. Something has come out and it's gonna be a whole new, there's gonna be a whole new group that's gonna have to make that decision as well. This locks us into our foreseeable future and our legacy at the sheriff's office for the majority of us in leadership positions.
Any further? Commissioner Van Doren?
Yeah, I appreciate the chairman's comments on the exit arrangement of the contract or the opt-out because, you know, we're voting for our residents for the next 10 years, and we're voting also for another board of commissioners that'll be here in 3 years. And there aren't too many contracts in business that I've been involved in where there's not an exit for one reason or the other, where either party can serve notice. That is very concerning.
Further questions, comments? Hearing none, the request is to recommend entering into a 10-year contract with Exxon to the Personnel Ways and Means Committee. Understand that once referred to Personnel Ways and Means, there will be further discussion on this, and 9 commissioners will weigh in on what we want to do. So that is the request. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
I'll go, I will support it, so it can go in front of all the commissioners.
Those opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Commissioner Daly?
Nay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought you were a member. So we have 2 for, 1 against. Motion passes. It will be forwarded to the Ways and Means Committee, at which time it'll be discussed further. Thank you, Captain.
Question before we go.
Over.
Could you check on that exit policy before it comes to Board of Commissioners? Because that's going to be, I'll tell you, I will not vote for it at the Board of Commissioners
That will
without
be a difficult
without a way out of it.
Yep, I will talk to him. I'll talk to him today.
I concur with that.
Now we have the request for the burn grant. Would you like to step forward, Captain?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So I came before the board last year to ask the board for a jail program coordinator. The board graciously gave me a jail program coordinator, Tamara Fitzgerald, for those of you that may not have met her yet. And Tamara's done a wonderful job in the short amount of time that she's been with us. Many of the accomplishments that she has had or we have had at the jail have not cost any money. A few of those would be, so when the inmates come to jail, a lot of times they get out of jail, they don't have any form of identification. One of the things that she has done is she has established with the clerk's office a means to get birth certificates for our inmate population. We have a mobile Secretary of State process by which we can get state IDs for individuals. She's working with the Veteran Services. This past week, we set up a workforce development program in our jail, which was also free through Michigan Works. There is a educational component through the Lenawee Intermediate School District that will be starting pretty soon so that the inmates can get their GED. That was what I would consider low-hanging fruit and things that were a necessity that wouldn't cost us any money. However, moving forward, we also knew that some of the bigger ticket items that we would like to introduce to our inmate population would in fact cost us money. That being said, we sought out some grant funded dollars to help us with those costs. Myself, Tamara, and a couple of others helped write a burn JAG grant. We were successful in getting awarded that grant this past October. And that grant is going to help us with what we're calling a jail reentry initiative, whereby through Wayne State University, we can help identify inmates that walk through the door who have mental health and substance use disorders. And we can enroll them into some jail programming. And then through peer support, follow up with them once they go back out into our community and offer up follow-up care even once they leave our custody. The largest amount of the grant has to do with the actual substance use programming, as well as the peer support specialists that we hope to accompany with that. I had a meeting yesterday with a local program provider. You may be familiar with McCullough Vargas. It was a great meeting. We are very like-minded when it comes to the things that they offer out in the community with what we're hoping to have in our jail. And we hope to contract with their services for the program as well as the 2 peer support specialists. There are other components of the grant, such as technology, emergency clothing for people that are getting released that otherwise have nothing, care packs for people, the hygiene items, and then transportation. It also covers transportation costs for people who are going to certain programs, outpatient programs. It'll cover the cost of transportation to those programs. So I come before you today to hopefully allow for those grant funded dollars to be executed so that we can begin the process.
Okay, the request is to recommend accepting the Burn Justice Assistance Grant to the state of Michigan and authorize Captain Randy Casey to execute the grant, which runs from 10/1/2025 and continues through 9/30/2026. We'll have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion? I have a couple. This is going to allow for, you obviously are going to subcontract with McCullough and Vargas
Yeah, we hope to contract with McCullough Vargas for this program services.
and provide transportation through the grant.
Yes, sir.
Who is going to administrate that portion of the grant?
Well, through bus tokens, through our court, or officer transport, through peer support transport, we'll find a way to get them to where they're going.
So you may be using officer transport and.
There is a possibility. There is a possibility that could be, that won't be our first option. We will try to use the peer support specialists or local transportation, but if that's not available, then we would probably use officers.
And this is a zero match grant, correct?
That is correct.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may I ask the captain
certainly.
a different relative question? Okay. I should have asked this earlier, sorry, but we went through it a little too quickly. So I looked at the jail population, the number of people that we've had in the last month, and I know our capacity is 287. We talk about this all the time, but I know you've been tasked with the job of looking for possibilities of finding more people to bring into the jail to cover cost. Anything further on that we know of?
No. So I recently went to a conference where we had jail administrators from all over the state of Michigan. And I did pose that to them as, again, there's no one looking to board currently. We are getting the same amount of arrests for the last couple of years. That has held steady at about 2,200 arrests for 2023 and 2024. In fact, it was within 2 people, which was kind of odd, but we're getting the amount of arrests. They're just not staying in our jail.
So, but the question is, or the point being, is that we have to staff the jail whether, for 287, whether we have them or not.
Yeah, the physical plant is set up to where it has 3 floors and you need at least 2 people on each floor for safety reasons.
Okay, well, we need to take a look at, I mean, I understand our arrests, they aren't requiring them to stay in the jail, but still leaves us with that big vacancy and, the cost of keeping that jail open.
Understood.
Okay. Thank you.
Well,
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Captain. Okay. Nothing for a while. We'll move now down to the prosecuting attorney's report.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Krasny.
thank you, sir. I just ask that keep your reports as concise as possible. We're approaching the next meeting time, and the chairman of that committee does not take it kindly to start that meeting late.
That person being,
I'll go quick. I just want to point out on our 2025 numbers for victims, we finally got this right. There were some, we had to get up to speed on the reporting codes in Carpel, so we think we finally have a handle on that. And I just wanted to state too, as far as the axonevidence.com stuff, that program does interface really, really well with Carpel. And I know with the state police uses WatchGuard, and we waste man hours every single week trying to get body cams from the state police, trying to download those, trying to deal with that. So there are time savings in our office from axon.com. It's kind of the gold standard. So we really like it. We're busy. Dale Werner trial prep is going, and that's about it.
Captain, does MSP have the same system?
No, their system's terrible.
Okay.
They're very unhappy with it.
Questions of the prosecutor? Hearing none, we'll move to the public defender's office.
We submitted our report. I didn't know if there was a mathematical.
Microphone.
I did note there's a mathematical mistake. It should indicate combined total cases. There's a decrease of 39, not 53. Other than that, is there any question?
Questions of the public defender's office? Hearing none, the emergency management could not make it here today. He was attending a business out of town. His report is in the packet. Are there any comments, questions of the emergency management? Thank you much. Medical examiner, Dr. Iran.
Good morning. If you just look at the September report, you'll find that we, year to date, we have 224 cases that we have investigated. We're projecting at the end of the year that it's going to be closer to about 398. Autopsies were 63 year to date, and we're projecting that it's going to be about 84 at the end of the year. November and December become our most busy months. And for the month of September, we investigated 22 deaths. 45% of those were natural, 27% were accidental, and 64% occurred in the home, 36% occurred in a healthcare facility, and 0 occurred that we investigated at the scene. One of the things that is important to note is that our death investigations primarily involve the elderly. 77% were over the age of 60, 50% of those were over the age of 70. The medical examiner's office, primarily, evolved over time to determine manner and cause of death. It's partially related to law enforcement to determine whether or not there's potential crimes. And then the other is that it's part of public health to determine whether or not there's threats to the public health in the form of infections or product failures. As a result of that, there are criteria specific for types of reportable deaths to the medical examiner and types, that we may perform an autopsy on. This was missed and not placed in your year-end report, which will be sent out to you so that you can read that. And the importance there is that reportable deaths does not mean that we're going to perform an autopsy on or that we're going to. We review the medical circumstances and we can decline that. If we decline that, it does not become the jurisdiction of the medical examiner, and that becomes the jurisdiction of the primary care physician to complete the death certificate. And by law, it states that it is an opinion, does not have to say that it's an absolute, because no county can perform an autopsy on everyone that dies in their county. They don't have the budget for it. So we obtained a letter from other medical examiners' offices that we added to it, that we're going to be sending out to all of the doctors who refuse to sign the death certificate when we decline it from the medical examiner's point of view. So you may hear some complaints from the physicians in the county. However, it is substantiated by the laws of the state of Michigan. I submitted our annual report for 2024. The letter that I wrote to you in the front of it really summarizes everything that occurred and is important there. Sarah Pomani and Patty McKenzie that work in our office attended MAME, the state meeting in my absence when I was in Saudi Arabia. They have also participated in 2 career fairs for the county. Sarah has participated in the Community Drug Forum for Hillsdale County and the Child Death Review teams that for Hillsdale and Lenawee for October. And that's my quick report.
Very good. Thank you, Doctor. Questions of the doctor? What is MAME?
MAME is Medical Association of Medical Examiners.
Rather a morbid name for a medical examiner. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much, Doctor. We will move now to Marie Spear Campus.
Construction continues at the campus on old detention, so we're busy with that right now. Obviously, we're in the new part of the building and adjusting well to that. The residents at the campus participated, or I'm sorry, not participated. They helped at the state cross-country meet at MIS this past weekend. And we're happy to say that the Lenawee Youth Center Board, which is Marie Spear Campus's board, okayed the purchase of 20 new radios for our staff. So we're excited about that. That's it for me.
Questions? Mr. Ruxt.
I just want to compliment Rod for his radio project. The system that he went with that will meet what he needs for his facility, save the county thousands of dollars, tens of thousands.
I'll just make this quick comment because there's a specific chairman just getting anxious, but one of the things that was discussed yesterday at the board meeting for Marie Spear Campus was really kind of a tug at the heart. There's an individual that was a previous resident of the Marie Spear Campus that became rather successful after his tenure at the campus, did well for himself, and now is offering $10,000, is it, Brett? $10,000 to the Marie Spear Campus board to disperse as scholarships for any of the graduates from the campus that want to go to college. And in fact indicated that may be a minimum. That in fact, that may start a funding process further. So it's a good story of someone who got a little trouble as a youth, went to the campus, was a resident there for a short period of time, obviously received some good guidance at the campus, some good leadership at the campus, got out and did very well for himself and is now giving back to the campus for what it's done. I think that's just a great program. Well done.
Yeah, he even said it, he would have, not furthered his education had it not been
Right.
for his experience.
And
Mr. Mendo.
continuing on, I appreciate you telling that story. Continuing on, said that most likely, had he not had the intervention of Maurice Spear campus, it would be a highly likelihood that he would be in prison that
Right.
day, and said that himself. That's pretty powerful.
He also received a scholarship from the campus. So after he left the campus, he come back and got a scholarship, and he ended up getting an associate's degree from Siena Heights. So
Wonderful.
it was a great start.
Mr. Murphy.
Sorry, Chair of Next Committee, but I gotta take this opportunity. I think that what you just heard is a true testament to the way Maurice Spear campus is run here in Lenawee County. I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit, and specifically those that are involved with the campus, the counselors, everybody that's over there, the teachers, Rod, his staff. Because if it weren't for the extra effort that they put forward with the youth that are in our detention center, these kids would not be coming out and being a success. And we would love to see 100% success ratio with these. And we know that doesn't happen. That's not realistic. But when something like this happens, it is a true testament to the efforts that they are putting in. And I know they're doing this on a daily basis, and they don't really, sometimes think, recognize the impact that they're having on these individuals. And so I do appreciate the board calling that out today too, because I think it's important for Mr. Weaver to hear that and to take that back to staff to let them know that they are being recognized for their efforts.
Any other business to be brought to this committee? Any other business to be brought to this committee? The public, I'm sorry, Commissioner Kraft.
Yeah, sorry. I'll add,
You like to step it up, sir. There's a committee chairman who's getting anxious.
thank you, Mr. Weaver, for all the work you do, and I'd be happy, especially around the holiday seasons, to bring in a special guest speaker to try to impact their lives as well. So please reach out to me what might work, like we did before. Thank you.
Certainly. Any other questions, comments? Any public comment? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Moving to support, is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, same sign, motion carries, we are adjourned.